Good evening, one and all present here. I am Monalisa from Clarinet, the designated session assistant for the seamless experience. Clarinet is India's most trusted and widely used digital platform, offering multiple enriching services exclusively for doctors. Clarinet is very delighted to be a part as a digital partner for this event organized by Young Ophthalmology Society of India. And today's session is all about Happy New Year Resident special webinar. Thank you for your patient listening, everyone. So let's begin today's session, for which I would like to take this opportunity to introduce Dr. Aarti Heda. She did Doctor of Medicine or DNB in Ophthalmology. She is a fellow of Royal College of Surgeons (FRCS) in Ophthalmology. She is a fellow of International Council of Ophthalmology or FICO. In addition, she is a member of Royal College of Surgeons (MRCS) in Edinburgh. She did fellowship in cataract and refractive surgery, Narayana Nethralaya, Bangalore. And but last but not the least, I would like to tell her professional focuses that encompasses cataract, glaucoma, cornea, refractive surgery, as well as expertise in medical legal aspects of ophthalmology and active engagement in research. So without further ado, ma'am, I would like to hand over this session to you, ma'am. Please proceed with your talk. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. So I welcome you all on behalf of Young Ophthalmologists Society of India. And I'm very glad to say that we are starting a new year with a bang-on session for residents. And we are grateful to Dr. Sonal for this wonderful initiative and lovely idea. So I hope this session will benefit all our upcoming ophthalmologists, budding ophthalmologists, and without further delay, I would like to introduce the speakers for today's session. So we'll have with us Dr. Sonal Kalia talking on a very interesting topic. She is an associate professor at Upgraded Department of Ophthalmology, Savai Man Singh Medical College in Jaipur. She is an anterior segment surgeon. She is president of Young Ophthalmologist Society of India and executive member of Jaipur Ophthalmological Society and Rajasthan Ophthalmological Society as well. She has received Young Achievers Award in 2022 at Global Conclave of Women Ophthalmologists Worldwide and Women Ophthalmologist Society of India. She has also won the Best Surgical Video Award at IIRSI conference in 2015. She has ranked first in Rajasthan State Assistant Professor Examination as well. She has been the organizing secretary at state level glaucoma PG teaching program in 2019, and she has been awarded as Dakshita Praman Patra on 15th of August by SMS Medical College in Jaipur. Next, we have with us Dr. Koushik Tripathy. He is medical director at ASG Eye Hospital in Calcutta. He is secretary at Academic Cells and Ethics Committee of ASG Eye Hospitals. He is team leader of Medical Legal Working Group of Young Ophthalmologist Society of India. He is professor at the Muthuswamy Virtual University of Postgraduate Ophthalmology. He is editor-in-chief of Ophthalmology section at Stanpearls Publishing in Florida. He's been an editor of the Retina and Vitreous section in iWiki as well. He has won various awards. To name a few, he has been winner of International Ophthalmologist Contest of iWiki in 2017 and 2020. He has published more than 250 PubMed indexed articles, and he has mentored more than 200 ophthalmologists worldwide in published. Thank you so much, Dr. Koushik, for joining us. Next, we'll have with us Dr. Mukesh talking to us. He is the consulting psychiatrist and sex therapist at Brain Psycho Clinic in Surat. He is recipient of many awards, to name a few. St. John Gold Medal at the worthy hands of President of India, Shri Pranab Mukherjee in 2014. He's been felicitated by Shri Acharya Devrat, Governor of Gujarat as well. He is a recipient of many awards from governors of Gujarat, Shri O.P. Kohli, Dr. Kamala Devi Beniwal, late Shri Naval Kishore Sharma, Shri Kailashpati Mishra, and Shri Sundar Singh Bhandari as well. He has received awards by Shri Sudarshan Agarwal, former government of Himachal Pradesh, for working for the society during calamities like earthquake relief work, flood relief work at Delhi. He holds various prestigious posts in social and professional organization. And we are thankful to you, Dr. Mukesh, for joining us. So we thought that we will make this session very interactive, and we are glad to have some resident with us. So we have with us Dr. Silka Gupta from SMS Medical College, Jaipur, Dr. Rutusha Dodwad from Sri Shankar Dev Netralaya, Guwahati, Dr. Alisha from Nair Hospital, Mumbai, Dr. Priyanka Jain from Sadguru Netra Chikitsalaya, Chitrakoot, Dr. Arvind from JLN MC Ajmer, and Dr. Anaga from Nair Hospital, Mumbai. So without further delay, I would request Dr. Sonal Kalia to start with her presentation. Over to you, Dr. Sonal.
A very good evening to everyone. Thank you so much, Dr. Aarti, for this kind introduction and for agreeing to be the moderator of this very important session. I'm glad that Young Ophthalmology Society of India could begin the year with a resident special webinar. And let's see how the residents have a good interaction and whether we're able to move forward with this series further. That's what the aim here is, that we want to have various topics of residents' interest as much as a part of the YOSI webinars and YOSI conferences, along with focusing on people who are in their initial years of practice. But first of all come our dear residents. So the first topic for the year 2024 is acing postgraduate residency exams. And this particular topic is very close to my heart, as ultimately when residents join college, they look at the exam as being the finish line. So I don't have any financial interest in any materials or methods that I'm going to mention in this particular webinar. And let me begin by saying that the Olympian, who wins the race by a matter of fraction of seconds, he has won that race actually many times at his home ground. He has practiced so well. So when you're going to sit for that exam, that very important exam of your final PG, your preparation has to begin long back, and you have to have performed very well many times in the home ground. So during residency, what exactly counts? There are many adjectives and verbs that we can use. You have to be courteous to patients. You have to have a sense of responsibility. You have to be honest and sincere and punctual. And everybody says those things. And right now I'm sounding perhaps like Amitabh Bachchan from Mohabbatein with all these words that I'm using. But ultimately, it's a desire to learn, and it all can be summed up in one word: dedication. You can have your enjoyment and yet be dedicated to the subject that you are studying, and become a good ophthalmologist at the end of the 3 years that matter most to you. So once we join the PG, we've just cracked some very good exam and come there, and we are having that feeling of euphoria. But the day you join, your learning should kind of begin. I would not be a person who's trying to dampen the mood here, but every day is your opportunity to learn. When you join the ward, the very first OPD that you see, there's so much to learn and so much to absorb. And there's also so much negativity that can seep in. So before that negativity seeps in, before people start putting you down, or you start experiencing homesickness, if you start taking interest in the subject and start studying, it is the first step that is very important. So to begin your OPD and wards, the very important thing is that you should practice the procedures in the correct manner. When you start learning, first things you are starting, maybe learning how to clean the eye of a patient, even learning dressing, some very, very simple things before starting indirect ophthalmoscopy, gonioscopy, retinoscopy. So once you are taught that procedure in the OPD or in the ward, or even just before the OT is going to begin, you should know how to practice it safely without hurting yourself, without hurting the patient. See, you can be learning a lot of things, but you also tend to forget those things. So once you go and read up, suppose you've been taught a little about the slit lamp for the first time, when you go home and you read it a little at night, it will kind of enhance what you've learned. And I used to carry a small diary with me, and I used to take notes also, because what used to happen was, being very honest, as a first year resident, you are literally at the bottom of the chain, and there are 20 people above you who are going to give you orders, and those orders are sometimes more important than what you're learning, it seems, at that moment. But that that order is there and you've forgotten that order and somebody then scolds you, then the learning takes a back seat and you are, really sulking in the background. You're really feeling sad and sorry, and you're feeling like I'm a first year resident, everybody's scolding me. So that is not important. What is important is to be learning and to be moving forward. So practicing the documentation of what you're learning and moving forward to the theory of it. For that, it's sometimes helpful to note down what your seniors are telling you to do in a diary along with what you are learning also. And then you go back home and you look at what all you have learned that day and start and read it, a little bit more at home. That is something that is really very helpful. Now, again, it is not just the procedures, but it is also something that interesting you've seen the class that is going to happen. Even if you're a first year resident and you can, attend the class sitting somewhere in the corner, then also, you're not very prepared. But if you read it up a little, try to listen to what is happening, and you prepare well before your OTs and OPDs. I think that's where your, actually the learning begins. And people often tell me that what is it, we don't get the time. Like a lot of residents used to say this to me, that we don't get the time, ma'am, to study. Time kahan hai? We have to go and study at home. You are telling us, and when we reach the hostel, we don't even get food. We have to do this, we have to do that. Yes, I agree, all those things are there. Then you can start waking up 1 hour early or start sleeping 1 hour late. It's ultimately up to you how you're going to manage your time, because everybody is getting those 24 hours, and those 3 years are not going to come back. That is something which is very well there. And having emphasized that you have to start learning from day one, it's like incremental effect of that, improvement of 1 to 2% every day. So once you are reading those topics, you're seeing those clinics, rounds, and OPD, those cases that you're going and reading, that is all going to add up to your knowledge towards your exam. It doesn't seem that way, but once you are reading and revising, it adds up. And when you start discussing, like I had a group of three friends who were each in different unit, and we have 3 units in SMS, so we were all three from different units. And like every week we had dedicated 2 hours where we used to discuss the cases that we had seen. We used to teach each other sometimes, and sometimes you to teach our juniors. So when we came in second year, we used to try to teach the first year. When we came in third year, we used to request the first and second years to listen to our seminars or listen to the journal clubs that we have prepared before we were actually going to present. So sometimes they used to ask us doubts, and those doubts used to be very good. And we used to realize that we have not understood the subject well enough to be presenting it 7 days later. And we used to go and revise further, read up further. So I think discussion is something that really teaches you a lot. Now, a lot of people have doubts regarding, there is so much learning in the theory itself, what to study for the OT, or if you've studied in the OT, if you've not studied in the OT, does it really matter? So I'll just say one thing. There are a lot of this story about people who know surgery and but they don't have real qualifications. So we are not those people. We are learning so much in our theory. We also need to learn the nuances of the surgery on the theoretical aspect. So it pays to be a well prepared resident in the OT. What do I mean by saying that? What I mean is that if you have a look at the case list, suppose you are aware that you are going to be assisting this particular surgeon the next day, and you are having a look, and you see that there's going to be an intumescent cataract, there's going to be a lot of hypermature cases, or there's going to be a specific VR surgery for a macular hole. And if one day before you find even 1 hour to sit and read up a little about all those cases surgically, what are the precautions to be taken for those surgeries, or you see the videos related to those surgeries and go into the OT, I think you are going to fare much better as a learner and also as an assistant, both. If you're knowing your instruments well, particularly first year residents, when they come, when towards the end of the OT, if they find time and they can start learning about the instruments and learning about the surgical options, the surgical techniques that are there. Suppose I am doing by one particular technique, but there are 3 other techniques that a resident should be knowing. So that is going to happen only when we study. And the informed consent, it sounds like a very, something that everybody knows. And yet you have to know that you're going to hand over a big piece of paper to somebody to sign. Sometimes they're not going to even read it. But there are certain points that you have to emphasize to the patient. Like if you go and forget while telling a patient to sign a pterygium consent, you forget to tell them that this pterygium may recur also. It's a very small and common example, but it does happen. So sometimes we forget to say the most important things. So that should not be happening. So you should be knowing what are the important points for the consent. These are all also learning aspects. So we have covered what we are going to do in the OT, you're going to watch your teachers very carefully. You're going to see what they are doing, and you're going to learn from that. And also, don't be upset about, he's assisting the better surgeon, I am assisting this surgeon. Every case is a learning case. Suppose you think that this particular case has not had a good outcome, but you have had an opportunity to see what not to do. You've also had an opportunity to see how that situation could be salvaged. So when you go prepared in the OT, you are learning much more than when you've gone totally unprepared at the last minute. And once you have started operating, right? So if you know that I will be allotted these, if I will be allotted an SICS case today, I will be allotted a FACO case today. So before the actual surgery, if you sit calmly, have take the name of God or meditate or whatever you believe in, and just visualize what all steps you are going to do, what are the instruments that you are going to need, how you're going to set your microscope. Now you're going to sit. This is not actually happening. This will be happening hours later. But much before that, in the morning, before actually reaching the OT, you just find those quiet 5-10 minutes and just sit and think over. Yes, I'm going to take this instrument. This is what I'm going to do. I have seen videos of SICS before. I have done SICS before, or I've done some steps in that particular surgery. And you go to the OT, you are a much more prepared person than when you reach there last minute and just see, okay, today is my surgery day, I will get this case and I'm going to do it. Just calmly try to visualize your steps. There's a lot of power in visualization, and it is very, very helpful once you have particularly if you're able to calm down yourself and see things in advance, rather than just reaching and at the last minute doing things frantically. Moving on, what do you do after OT? I used to be very tired. I'll be very frank. I used to be very tired. So much happens in the OT. When you're a first year resident, you are just a part of the person who's preparing the OT cases. When you're maybe a second year, or maybe sometimes in the first year also, you're assisting a very great surgeon, and you are at such a low level that you don't even understand what is going on. They're so fast. Sometimes you're assisting some surgeon, maybe who's junior and has not had a very great outcome in a case, and you think my time is wasted. I see the best surgery happening in the OT. Then there are moments when you are helping only in the surgical consent, you're only happening in the helping in the drops afterwards, or you've got a list, start DEXA to this patient, give mannitol to that patient, or you're just getting steps in a particular surgery. Then you're senior enough, you're getting steps independently, you're getting observed. Someday your surgery is going to go so well, you're going to be in a state of euphoria. The other day, you're going to call somebody for help in the complicated case, and you're never going to get that case back. It's going to be completed because it was in state of such a mess. Then one day you could have done more number of surgeries confidently. Someday you will experience that the other person, your other co-JR, has done faster, somebody is slower. What is all this? All this is your mind telling you that you can be learning daily. There is an opportunity. And how do you learn daily after the OT? You keep a journal. At least I did. I have a diary in which I used to note down. Because what happens, you get those fleeting moments. These things are not written in books at one place at least. They are mentioned in books, definitely. But how do you have that much time to go to so many books for just one particular surgery? Sometimes you don't. So by the time you get those surgeries, all this preparation has prepared you. So when you are preparing the OT cases, some senior tells you this patient should not be given pylo before the surgery. Somebody is telling you give the block in the proper manner. You are assisting somebody. You're not assisting somebody. You're assisting somebody in just the aftercare. All that is a part of your learning. So if you're able to jot down the points, why was this particular mannitol given to this patient only? Why were the other patients not given? I'm not saying that you should stop the flow of the teaching or anything, and ask people then and there that what is happening. But then later on, you can go and read up, you can go and ask later, and this is how you start learning and developing a knack of how to care for your patients, and also overcoming that feeling. Sometimes there's so much tiredness, but if you just step and see what is happening in the OT, what is happening in the OT today, you just slow down and realize. So it's a very well known thought that you should learn from your mistakes, but you should also be learning from other people's mistakes. What do I mean by that? If you've seen somebody do a complication and you realize that this is what they did and you can learn from it, very good. If you have done a complication that day in the OT and you can, just note it down. Be kind to yourself and remember that, okay, I don't have to do this. I don't have to hold it so tight, or I don't have to, step my foot on the pedal so hard. I mean, there are 100 things that, you hear from your teachers there in the OT, but you don't note them down. So next time you're going to go and commit that mistake again. And what do I mean by saying write your injuries in sand, kindnesses in marble? It's a French proverb, definitely. But what I'm trying to say here is be patient with yourself. Don't compare yourself to others. Try to have that calm state of mind for a proper learning. Somebody may be learning too fast, somebody may be learning slower. But what you have learned and what mistakes you have made, please try to be patient with yourself, try to learn. And if you have had a win, celebrate it. Be happy, give yourself a small reward, eat a chocolate, go for a movie or whatever way in which you can reward yourself, but build on that. Suppose you're doing an incision perfectly every time, but you're having a mistake in a rexis. That does not mean that the day you start doing the rexis properly, you start making mistakes in what you were getting right earlier. You were making a perfect incision, but that day you were so focused on the rexis that you made a mistake in the incision itself. That should not be happening. You have to build on what you have learned earlier, carry on the positives, and reduce your negatives. Also, whatever opportunities that you're getting, even if you're getting an opportunity to take visco, or just go inside and observe, that is also a learning experience. Please learn from it and hope for the next day to be even better. Now coming on to your resources. So there are a lot of resources, but one thing that you should remember, that you cannot really replace the standard textbooks. Then there are a lot of review papers, a lot of books. Like there are books like Kansky. I would not say that Kansky is not a good book. It's a book that gives you so many pictures. It's a wonderful book for introduction, but the points given there are enough for certain topics, but they are not enough for certain other topics. So you cannot trust just one book, one thing. Although Jacobi is pretty perfect on that point, it covers everything, but still, it's better to have a repertoire of a lot of books and review papers, and ultimately you have to summarize those things somewhere. But when you're going to answer either in your viva or in your theory, you should be using only trusted sources. You cannot use things that you just googled and have no known source, or you cannot be quoting them. If you cannot quote them to some teacher, if you cannot reference them in some article, it's not a very good source to be written in your examination. Now, because we're talking only of examination, we're not talking of anecdotal evidence like Sonal ma'am kehti hain aise kar do. We really can't do that. We can't do things like this person says and that person says. We have to be quoting something which is a trusted source. So you have to make a habit. Sometimes some people get the habit of prayer and then studying, habit of meditating, something like that, to help you. Like for me, I used to go to the library. SMS has a very good library. A lot of people do not like going to libraries these days, and they use those techniques with the stopwatches. They use the Pomodoro technique. There are many other things to do. There's also one very good thing these days, that podcasts are there. You can be making your discharge tickets and listening to amazing ophthalmic information while doing that. Ultimately, you have to find a way to focus and keep learning and waste less time. Now coming on to, once you started studying, what you should be studying more. You should be building on basics first. You should not be spending more time on rare versus the common things. Suppose you know a great deal about golden heart syndrome, but when I start asking something very basic about cataract surgery and you're not able to answer it, it's not going to give a very good impression on anybody else also, not just the examiner. So yes, you should be knowing syndromes and all these things, but you should be knowing your basics more in detail and in depth. Now, this particular thing is there, that how do you move forward towards your syllabus? You should need be to divide your topics into whether they're topics that you know very well, the topics that you know or understand well, but you don't remember them, you're not able to retain them, so they need revision, and those topics you have never read. So why am I dividing them? Because you should be knowing your weak points and you should be tackling the difficult topics also. The proverb used here is, if you have to eat two frogs, eat the ugliest one first. It does not mean that I'm asking you people to be eating a frog. What I'm trying to say here is that the course is difficult to complete so much in these 3 years time. So if you have two very difficult things to learn, read up and memorize the more difficult one first, so that when the exam comes, it should not be that the most difficult thing is still not touched, like squint. So students many times find squint to be a very difficult topic, so they keep leaving it to the end, they keep postponing. We will not read squint. Please take up squint first and finish it. Read as much as you can, understand as much as you can. Maybe you didn't understand some things, but it is better than knowing 20 different things about cataract and not knowing anything about squint. So what I'm trying to say here is, please, the topics that you've never read or you're finding them very difficult, try to cover them as soon as possible in your syllabus also, when your exams are near. Now, for me, the note taking was something which was very, very essential. I don't know if it is for the generation now, but why I'm saying generation now is because I finished my PG in 2013, so it's like a good 10 years now. But I found that preparing notes used to help me, because ophthalmology being such a vast, subject with so many sources. You've read something from Kansky, now you've also read it from Ryan, and you've got some things which are there in a review paper. So how do you actually retain all of that? So I used to, those important topics, I used to take all the points and note them down. These are my own copies. I don't have a very good handwriting, but at least I've tried to summarize some of the things that I've read somewhere. I'm just showing you those pictures, because you have to read, then you have to retain, you have to revise, and then you have to reproduce. Remember that. If you're not able to, if you've read but you've not retained, you will not be able to reproduce it in the exam. So for a good reproduction in the exam or whatever you've read, you need to revise and retain it. And you have to collate from various sources. You have to know the diagrams, you have to know the landmark trials related to a particular topic. You should also remember that there's a difference. How do you forget things? It often happens that there are grand rounds and some senior teacher or even junior teacher ask a particular thing and the resident is blank. Then when they start answering, giving hints, then they say, yes, ma'am, we did read this. Yes, sir, we did read this. Yes, we remember, we faintly remember. There's a memory of having read, because they did read. It's not that they're not learning, but they're not revising it. So the 25% learned material would be remained only after 1 week if you've not revised it. You should remember that once you start revising it after 24 hours, then after 7 days, and then after 1 month, then and only then it will be retained long term. And what are the new sources? Once we know that our sources of our teachers and our sources of our books are up to a limit only. Sometimes, we to get bored of the same teaching, we are not able to focus on the books. What are the other areas where we can learn? So there are a lot of webinars, and a lot of those webinars are available on YouTube for free, which is like really good. We didn't have that access. This has happened, one of the good effects of COVID. And you get to listen to a variety of experiences. You can see the journal clubs, you can be seeing the topics that are new to you, you can see different ways of doing things. It will open up your mind like anything. And what happens when you attend conferences, actually, you are able to know how the people are presenting free papers, and then you can also get to present. There are so many conferences that are there even this year. You can attend the wet labs, the surgical, training centers are there in those, you can just pay and learn something which is not even available in your institute maybe. And it is going to open up, a new plethora of new resources for you. Being active in research, this is my photograph with my thesis for presentation in an international conference, that really boosted my confidence at that particular time. So once you've been able to work hard for your thesis, you can draft your publications, you can be collaborating on case series, and all this is going to really enhance your confidence in yourself and ultimately help you in your learning. Now, PG exams, they are divided into the theory and the practical. What it actually entails is, whether it could also be an online kind of a format when COVID was there. Ultimately, it entails you have to lucidly present the coherently recollected thoughts about a given topic in a finite time period. Each and every word is very specific here. Coherently recollected thought. What does that mean? Your thoughts should not be haywire. They should be presenting, like there should be a story that is coming through. Then finite time period. If you can remember everything in 6 hours, but your exam is only of 3 hours, then it is of no use. You have to remember it in that particular time. And how do you prepare for the theory exams? First, let's tackle that. So you have to prepare structured answers from the available resources. The resources are so many. Now I've even added webinars to those resources. So for me, what made it easy was, first of all, knowing the exam pattern chapter wise. It is going to be really helpful. This is actually a diary that I had for, in which I had written the paper, the questions from each and every topic coming in the last 10 years. So I saw that, okay, this particular topic is being asked 3-4 times. I'd marked that also. So for me, that was very helpful. And, ultimately, those questions that are being frequently repeated, you can always have a small flow chart or a diagram also and see what points need to be answered over there. Then coming to your, you've seen the previous year's question papers, you should volunteer in the exams of your senior batches. And how do you make a good answer sheet? I should say that this joke goes on that, girls really answer well. I've seen guys also answering really well, very nice answer sheets. Why? Because they're correctly marking their answer. The answers are sequential. They are good, well differentiated headings, and there are well labeled drawings. Along with that, you have to keep the marking scheme in mind. Please don't get excited to see, suppose there's the question, there's a short note on VKC, but there's a long question on, some topic of retina which you find very difficult, and you go on writing in the short note on VKC, but you leave the long question with just one paragraph, then you're not going to score. So please keep the marking scheme in mind. Cover all the aspects in the long answers, highlight or color if the time permits. Even your exam paper is a target, so you should have a strategy towards it. Should not be just start answering blindly. Have a look at the marking scheme particularly. Now coming to the practical exam, you are going to have long cases, short cases, investigation, grand viva, thesis. Ultimately, your confidence and mindset is going to matter. There are lots of jokes, but when you are starting to present, if you have worked hard, what ultimately the examiner wants to know from you is whether you have been able to examine those cases properly, whether you had a good differential diagnosis, very proper workup. It's not that they want you to know each and every landmark trial on the topic. So it's better to be thorough and meticulous, not be scared of the examiner. So when you're presenting a case, your history examination should be good. Your working differential diagnosis should be there. Even if you don't have a diagnosis, that is not a problem. And if you are aware of the studies relevant to the topic, that is like, feather in your cap. And just before the exams, it's very well known, but ultimately what happens, we are in such an anxious state, we are not able to sleep well, we stop taking care of ourselves, and we, on the day of the exam, we should be doing certain things, but we don't do them. We are comparing with others, that this person has studied so much, he's studying for 6 hours and I studied only for 2 hours. Please don't compare yourself with others. It really upsets your mood for further studies also. And keeping a positive mindset always helps. So throughout the PG, there's one important thing. You also have a personal life. You have a family, whether you're married, whether you're not married. You have a lot of things going on in your personal life also. Some people experience a lot of problems in their personal life during the residency. But you cannot let all those things set your agenda in life. That's something very, very important. You have to be persistent and you have to prioritize towards what is most important. You have to find time to study. You have to find time to, really pull through towards your goals. And those goals are going to define who you are at the end of those 3 years. Happy to share that I have received this news that PG medical students are going to get 20 CLs and they will be getting weekly off as well. That's very good step, I think. And that is going to make your studies also easier when you get enough rest. And ultimately, remember one thing, when you're joining a post-graduation, you will be, this is me operating after, some time immediately after my PG, and I'm doing a case and my mentor is just observing whether I'm doing it properly or not. And ultimately, your real exam is when you will be restoring somebody's vision and not just passing an examination. So with that, I would like to thank everyone and say that every day is a chance to learn something. So please keep learning and keep growing. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sonal, for that extensive talk and giving the day-to-day tips. And I'm sure the residents would have really benefited from this talk. So I would like to invite Dr. Rutusha Dodwad to ask a question to Dr. Sonal.
Good evening, ma'am. It was a very informative talk. Ma'am, I had one doubt regarding how to manage time during residency for self-study.
So thank you very much, Dr. Rutusha, for joining us and for asking this question. So as I've just tried to explain also, for me, it was an early morning time. I was an early bird. So some people are, owls and some people are larks. I think that before the day starts, that is one way of, really prioritizing your time before, like if you to reach the hospital at 8 and somehow you can squeeze in 1.5 or 2 hours extra in the morning by waking up much earlier or staying up late. That is one way of just staying in a 24-hour time. But otherwise, if you are going to have those planners are available, if you're going to have those planners and really note down those goals for every day, having three most important goals marked, three most important goals for your studies. I think that is an effective way to be managing your time. This is what that worked for me. And I would say that I was a pretty ordinary person, so it has worked for me. It can work for others also. And then again, I think that being intelligent is one thing and being hardworking is another. So if you're a combination of the two, it's going to be working wonders for you. So working hard means, trying to take out time from any way that's possible. And why early morning used to work for me, I'll tell you. I used to be, I still am. Sometimes, some people call it being sensitive, being extra sensitive and all that. Girls do get affected by what happens in the day. Their case has gone bad. Now they're going to be crying buckets and they're not going to be studying in the evening, or somebody has scolded them. These kind of things happen in residency a lot. So before all of that happens, just finish 2 chapters in the morning and now reach the, see, your mood is also going to be uplifted. But then some people are not able to wake up in the morning. So those people, my request is come back home, try to take a bit of rest and then, read till the night. So you have to manage your time in a way. And those, now you're all going to get weekly day offs also. So keep some hours during that off for your studies as well. I hope that answers some of the question, or you were looking for something specific?
No, ma'am, this answers my question very nicely. I will work on all the tips that you've suggested.
Try
Thank
the
you, ma'am.
Pomodoro technique also. It really works wonders, particularly
Yes,
when you have less time.
yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Dr. Priyanka, would you like to ask something to Dr. Sonal before we move on to Dr. Kaushik's talk?
Yes, ma'am, surely. A very good evening to you, ma'am. It was a wonderful talk, and I think you have already answered what I was going to ask. But I'll still take up this opportunity, and like you say, every step as an opportunity to learn. But still, some days are like that. Like I had a few weeks back, I had an aphakia. While I was completing the surgery, I just it just became a mess, and the patient was left aphakic. It was my first aphakia, and post that I was crying buckets, like you just said, and it makes you question as how you're going to be a surgeon, whether it makes you question that are you going to be a good surgeon. So how do we manage the stress, and how do we tackle these emotions, that I wanted to ask.
That's a very, very valid question. It happens, and trust me, it happens to the best of us. It happens to the worst of us. It happens to everybody. Okay, and to me, again, for me, that journaling used to really help. I wish I could show it over here, but I have this surgery journal with me. Now I've been using it less and less. But in my residency, I used to be very, very particular about using it. Whatever used to happen, whatever those learning points were, wherever I could see those mistakes that are happening. So one thing you would realize, Priyanka, is that there's a learning curve in ophthalmological surgery, at least, in which first you don't know anything at all, right? Then comes a phase when you start thinking that you know a lot. Okay, then you realize that
Yes,
there's so much you don't know. Oh my God, they're doing this, they're doing that, and then there comes a stage when you are knowing what you are not knowing, and you are knowing what you do know. Okay, so you have to move from this current phase of knowing less to that stage where you know what you know and you know what you don't know also. What I mean, you may be knowing that there are techniques of putting in sulcus fixated IOL and this and that, but you have just had an aphakia. So what do you do with all that information? It's all useless to you. What you're questioning right now is whether I am I even a candidate who should be getting MS general surgery. What am I doing in ophthalmology? This is too small. I don't know my IPD. You go into that spiral. So instead of doing that spiral, you have to capitalize on the wins. Did you make a good Rexes that day? Was your block okay if you give the block yourself? What steps went right? Just write them down. This all went right. one step, which was, yes, putting in the IUL, having a patient who's aphakic is hurtful. Definitely it is. It's hurtful to the most senior surgeons also, more hurtful at that stage, I should say. But it's nonetheless to say that it's not that it's a very trivial matter for you. No, it's not. But at that particular point in time, if you just take in the wins and try to see where you went wrong so that you can, correct yourself in the next day and take advice from somebody, watch videos or talk to people. I think that's what used to help me. I mean, I could not, bring myself to studies that day. So that day used to be spent in postmortem of the surgery. So that is why I'm saying that, journaling used to help. So at that time, the journaling is not limited to what you have done. You can now open your FACO book. You can open books on SICS or whatever, read up over there and see what mistake you made. So that journaling, so whatever number of OT days, we used to have 2 OT days in a week. So even that day morning, I used to read for the OT, and after the OT also, I used to read up for the OT and write down what I did well and what I did wrong. Okay, so I hope that sums up something for you, and maybe you're able to use that technique further.
Yes, ma'am, surely. Thank you so much. Thank you.
And Dr. Priyanka, you can actually, if there is a video recording, you can go and watch the video and see what has happened, and also ask your mentor to look at it. And basically, you have to, a good surgeon identifies the complication before it happens. So
Yes.
that is the thing, and mistakes happen, but if mistakes happen repeatedly, that is wrong from your part. So you need to identify the mistake and you need to make sure that you do not do the same thing again. You can do a different thing, but you have to learn the same, that the same thing will not be repeated. This is how we learn. We say that we learn from others' mistake, but most of the surgeons learn from their own mistake. They do not learn from others' mistake. But definitely you have to identify where you are going wrong. And before something very bad happens, you call your senior. And some people think that the seniors are not allowing me to manage complications. That is, it is, you have to also consider the patients from patient's perspective. So the first is we do not want to harm the patient, but definitely complications are not, you have not done it yourself, but you have to identify when it is happening, and when you think that it is going beyond your capacity. Even I do that. I am a senior surgeon. When I think that my mental capacity, or I am so stressed, or somehow I am like I have fever, etc., I call my colleague and request them, please complete this, because this doesn't specifically denote that I am incompetent, but this denotes that I put patients good before my ego. So that is very important. You ensure that whenever your something is going wrong, call seniors and then try this. And also definitely look at the video, show your mentor and ask, sir, how can I learn? And whatever happened, you need to read a lot about it and how it, specifically how to prevent that. So we all have been going through this, and specifically retinal surgeons have had very bad days, but definitely we learn from those cases, and we have to ensure that similar thing doesn't happen again.
Yes. Yes, sir. I've started doing that. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sonal, Dr. Koushik, Dr. Rutusha, and Dr. Priyanka. So we'll move on to our next talk, and I invite Dr. Koushik Tripathy, who's going to talk to us about thesis writing guidance, mistakes to avoid, and how to prepare for publication. Over to you, Dr. Koushik, for your talk.
Thanks, Dr. Aarti. So I'll be talk. I have divided my talk into how to format the Word document, and how do I take care of grammar and language, how do I prepare a title page, and what are the specific criteria I look into to decide authorship, and how do I select the genre and reviewer, and what the abstract should contain, and how should I prepare the main text, and what are the tools and how do I organize my references, how do I plan images or videos and tables, and how to plan statistics, and what are the problems I can face. So I use Microsoft Word because this is the most commonly used software for managing Word documents, and specifically when I'm using Zotero puts on some codes inside the document. So if you do not if you change the software, the code gets lost, and the references, the Zotero cannot automatically replace the references. So these are some technical issues. You have to save it in document .doc format, because it sometimes, if you have older version of Microsoft Office, this .docx files will have some spaces removed, and many words will be clumped together. So, and also when the journal prepares a PDF, if you have .doc file, then the PDF is usually made without any change. So I use because there are usually multiple changes happen to the manuscript. I usually write them like this: 2022 to 2024.01.05. That means the year, month, and the date, so that it whenever the files are there, they are automatically sorted out in their preferences. And also, it helps me decide which was the last document, and definitely email that. Usually use professional fonts like Times New Roman or Arial. Size should be 10 to 12, and align the thing to the left, align the text to the left, and you can make the double spacing of the line, and also uh, you have to make it that there should be line numbers which should be continuous. So for grammar, I'll request all of you to use Grammarly, which is a free software, and it has Chrome extension available, and it helps you to write, make the grammar and language very nice. And I choose American English, and you should not use both American and British English on the same paper. And these are some technical issues. Though we know this thing, but many times I see that these are happening. The sentence doesn't start with a capital letter. The sentence doesn't stop with a full stop. There is a space before the full stop, and abbreviations are given, but there is no full title, full form of the abbreviation. And do not use difficult abbreviations. Use only the approved or commonly used abbreviation. So this is Grammarly. Definitely get an account, and it helps you a lot in preparing this. And it has currently AI built in. So, and also definitely avoid wrong spelling. These are very small. Do not use I did this or you in your manuscript. You have to use he, she, or they, like third person words, and avoid superlative. Do not say that this is the best study that has been done till date. Do not use hyperbolic words or exaggeration that we have done tremendous work in this. So definitely focus on facts, and if something has happened, do not blame anyone, just focus on the facts. You do not say that previous ophthalmologist missed the diagnosis and made a wrong diagnosis. Do not write such things. Write that patient had received a diagnosis of this elsewhere. And all the strong statements will need references. And if your images or tables, they should be referenced in the main text. You should write that yes, this sentence refers to table 1 or table 2. Do not add blank lines in the manuscript, and unit should be separated by space. If you are using any commercial product, you have to give their generic name, route of, and for drugs, route of administration, exact dose and duration should be given. Be politically correct. This is very important. You do not say if a person is mentally ill. You have to say that, write this as persons with mental illness, and so on. Be definite, modest, humble, and correct. You do not say that this is the first study of its kind, or this is the best study to show that. Say that according to the best of the author's knowledge, there is possibility of literature exploring this, because uh, many people are working on the same data, and the new data might have come after you have prepared the manuscript. So if you have long sentences, divide them into multiple small sentences. In the title page, you be very specific, write whether it is a randomized control trial or case series, etc. And if you are writing a case report, at that this is a case report with review of literature. Also add the review of literature in the manuscript, and the short title short title goes in the other pages, and that should convey the topic, describe your financial interests, conflicts of interest, and any other disclosure if you are discussing any commercial entity. So if you are presented in some conference of some organization, you have to know whether there is a right of first refusal. That means if you have presented an article in American Academy of Ophthalmology, you have to submit the paper to ophthalmology, retina, or other journals of ophthalmology, and if they reject you, then only you can submit the paper to other places. And you also have to mention that you have presented the same data in other places. Do not submit same paper in different journals at the same time. That is a academic misconduct. And definitely, when you are planning the trial, you have to register your trial at clinicaltrials.gov or in India CTRI. And when you are submitting some journals like NZP of India, they require a no objection certificate from the head of the institute. Authorship is very important. You are starting your journey in the career. You need to identify who contributed sufficiently and who meet all the four criteria given by IPMJE. These are very important, and do not put some person's name because they are just head of the department, or they like this is called ghost author. These persons did not contribute in a meaningful way. They do not meet IPMJ criteria. You should not put their name because that is an academic misconduct. And ghost authors are for people who have worked substantially in the manuscript, but their name do not come anywhere in the manuscript or in the acknowledgement. You have to acknowledge all people who have contributed to the research or to the writing of the paper. So usually most of the journals will not allow a change of the author order, and and if somebody has helped you and somebody has met ICMG criteria during revision, their name can be added in the during revision. So all authors should get an register for an ORCID ID. It is very important if you are planning to publish, definitely register at this site and get your ID. Do not the names of the authors should be correct because these are indexed in PubMed. You should not have a misspelling the names or degrees or affiliation. And write full name. Some South Indian people have write their name as this, just for as initials, but definitely when you are writing a paper, your name should be full. Some journals allow you to bypass the reviewer suggest reviewer page, but in some places you have to suggest reviewers. These reviewers should not be biased. That means they should not be very close friends of you, and they should not be your current mentor or current collaborators. So you may oppose some reviewers if you think that they might purposefully reject your paper. But individual board has the highest authority to decide whom to send for review. So selection of journal is very important. This publication journey is difficult and it will take time. It will need you to be persistent. And there are multiple free or paid options which are easy and quick, but these are actually a scam. This is a new new term which is brought by Jeffrey Bill. Creative journals. These journals focus more on business and less on quality. So you have to avoid these journals. There was this original guilt list or the scholarly way website which was withdrawn, and now you can find this guilt list in online when you search this or search literary journal. You have to target high impact factor, and once it gets rejected, aim for a lower impact factor. This list of this impact factor of the various journals are available online. I have given the link, or you can search like Journal Citation Report Impact Factor of 2023. You will get the Excel form. You definitely try for journals which are indexed in PubMed or PubMed Central, and you can know whether an article is in National Library of Medicine catalog and whether it is indexed by or not by searching at National Library of Medicine website. So this is the NLM catalog. You search this, and as you can see that Indian Catalog of Ophthalmology case report is not yet indexed for MedLife. So you see that, and also search other articles in PubMed whether they are indexed in PubMed or not. So these journals definitely, and another thing is that if you are persistent and your data is original and you have honestly analyze the article will eventually get published, because the reviewers or the journals actually want to accept your paper. And another important thing is you have to find out the fee of the article processing charge. So you search for fee or charge in the author instruction page, and you will find that as of now IO charges around 4,000 for a figure, color figure, and many journals allow for waiver of fees if you say that you do not have any financial support. And this time is important because many journals, they specifically journals published from middle east countries, they will keep your article for a long time. Like this was submitted in 2017 and ultimately it got published in 2021. So this is important because this will kill your time. You have to find a journal in which you are getting the first decision is given within 2 months. So that the abstract should follow the instruction for authors and definitely be within the word limit. Abstract is the thing which most of the people will read. So that should be the succinct summary of your article, and use for keywords use MESH terms. These are called medical subject heading terms. You can find it on National Library of Medicine website. So as I said, abstract should the you should be specific about the aim. The method should describe PICO, which is called problem or participant intervention, control and outcome. Result should be detailed, unbiased, and statistics should be there. Also, also demonstrate the non-statistically significant findings, but which are relevant, and also discuss about the adverse drug reaction or any side effects of the intervention. In conclusion, be specific and just focus on what you find. Say that this study found that topical atropine 0.01% drop reduced the progression of myopia in children ages 6 to 10 years compared to SAM eye drops at 2 years follow-up. But do not say that low dose atropine reduces progression of myopia in children, because larger studies may be needed and your study might have other limitations which might not allow you to tell a general statement like this. Introduction should discuss background, and definitely do not write it as a review of the article. It is not needed. You just focus on what you have done and what other people have done and what is lacking in their data. In the methods, you find there are multiple guidelines which are available in Equator Network. You find those and you try to take those guidelines according to your paper and register your articles. Ethical approval definitely is needed. The PICO should be detailed in the methods, and write about give details about which tests were used, and their machines and manufacturer details should be given. Duration of follow-up and details of control should be given. So this is Equator Network website, and this is like for randomized trials. You have consult statement. You download that and you check your article with that. For statistics, you have to first calculate definitely the sample size. Multiple statistics softwares are available. You have to be honest, and statistical non-significant finding may also get accepted. That is not a criteria for acceptance. You have to report your data with whatever you have found. If you have taken the help of statistician, you acknowledge him or her in acknowledgement if they do not meet the criteria for others. So results should discuss demography, baseline features, what features you have found, the statistically significant and non-significant findings. If there were any adverse reactions or complications, what was the cause and what was the management provided. Attrition should be detailed, and if some parameters was not noted or parameters were missing, you have to mention that in limitation. Do not do manipulation of data or image. It is a academic misconduct, and do not do that. And total images and numbers should not exceed the instruction of the journal. So in discussion, this is the most important part. Most of the people will read this. So critically analyze all literature in the same topic. Find like search the text for all references, and if this all these references can the full text of references may be found in SciAb website or another archive. These have some legal issues going on against them, but these are as of now these are available in public domain, and they are that these sites URL changes frequently, so you can go to the Wikipedia website which I have given there. Wikipedia link for Saturn library, and you can find the current URL which is active there. And definitely read all the references, full text of the references, and discuss all the previous literature which is supporting your data, and also all the data which do not support or contradict your findings, and try to discuss why this has happened. So this is and in the discussion, definitely be open to contradicting ideas or outcomes. Do not make unsupported claims. Only say, only discuss or only claim that. Only say what you have seen, and definitely put limitations. Every paper has a limitation. Be clear about that and mention them in the paper. If you do not mention them, reviewer will ask you to mention them later. So definitely, and you will have to show what, in which direction the uh, research can go later. In conclusion, be conservative and concise. If your data size was small, suggest that larger randomized control trials may be needed to explore the matter further. Do not give general statements if the sample study is small, and write what your article adds to the literature, and also add to that what the limitations of your study. So references, this is important. So this Zotero, I use Zotero. This is an important referencing software. You must understand how to write this. Use this thing. It is freely available online, and it has a Chrome extension with it. And if you are using it, it helps you to change the referencing style. If your article get rejected, or if you are changing the article massively, and it saves time. So I also have a talk in YouTube on this, how to use Zotero. So you can watch that. For images, I use Picasa and If1View. If1View is a free software, and it helps you change or upgrade the dots per inch or resolution of the image, which is shown there. And Picasa helps in preparing montage images. So some journals need both labeled and unlabeled images. This is a technical you have to save your image at least 300 dpi, and if you are submitting images, check for color figure charges, and also mention the image in the main text. And images should be images with their image legend should be sorry. Dr. Aarti, is my screen visible? I think it got disconnected or something.
Yeah, it's visible now. Maybe just you can put it on a slideshow
Yeah.
mode and we see it full screen.
I think there is some problem.
How many more slides left for you, Dr. Koushik?
It is almost done. I think I'll not open it in a full page. I think that is what is causing problem.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. So videos and tables should be explanatory, self-explanatory, and give full forms of all applications used in the tables. And plagiarism is a serious offense. Do not copy paste data from any source, and most journals use authenticate, which can find plagiarism if you have done it. Do not do that, because it will be attached to your academic journey forever. Do not do that. And if you are copying something from verbatim from a source, keep it in the keep it in a this thing. Inside the code. So plagiarism multiple plagiarism checking softwares are available. You can use AI, artificial intelligence for this. Quillbot is a software which will allow you to paraphrase your content, but definitely you have to cite the main text here. As of now, UGC has a new rule in 2018. It doesn't allow plagiarism more than 10%, and if you have plagiarism more than that, there is a penalty for that. And there are other academic misconducts which can cause retraction of the paper. So that's all. My take-home message would be like definitely learn Zotero and Grammarly. This will help you writing a lot. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Koushik, for covering this very important topic in a very simplified way. So it's time for our residents to ask their queries. I'll request Dr. Rutusha to please start with the first question to Dr. Koushik.
Good evening, sir. So my doubt was regarding AI tools. What are the AI tools that we can use which help us with our thesis writing?
So basically, you can use ChatGPT. The problem with ChatGPT is that it will not give you scientifically correct data or things with references. So this is what I have collected there. So you can use ChatGPT, but this is elicit.org is a site in which you can actually get a summary of what you want. So you can write that the role of OCPA in diabetic macular edema. So it will give you a summary of the major 5 or 6 articles, and it will give references also. And as I have told that Quillbot is a website which will help you paraphrase an article, and it is not detected. If you paraphrase an article, it will be not detectable by the plagiarism checking software. But when it is always better to understand the topic and write it in your own language. And if you are using Quillbot, you need to give the references of the main text definitely. And this is an article from Academia Insider. You can check that, and it has given multiple AI tools which can help in research papers. So definitely take on that. And what I use it in collecting data or in keeping data. I am using Notion, which is a software in which you can organize your all data, including clinical data. So that also you can try. And Zotero, though this is not associated with AI, but it is a good referencing software. The Grammarly is having AI, and it can help you generate new data, or you can write on a new topic also.
Thank you, sir.
So next, I would like to invite Dr. Priyanka.
Very good evening to you, sir. So I wanted to ask that how do we go about doing an interim analysis of the work we have done till now? Like during our thesis process, we have a lot of data which is being collected, but like I'm entering all of that data, but I have a follow-up of 6 months. So, and I have like 4 follow-ups of patients. So how do I go up with the interim analysis? Ki kuch, like, is there any significant result which is coming out, or what are the things that I have to change or look into? So I wanted to ask that.
Basically, once you have made a protocol, you should not change anything, because if you want to change the protocol, you have to get the ethical approval again. So that is the legal or ethical dilemma there. But what you can, most of the institute will want you to write like 6 monthly review of the data. So what you do is that you identify how many people's data you have taken, mainly what is attrition rate. That is important, and how there will be some places in which you have not collected the data. So you have to identify the weak points which are there, like which are causing your data to erode. So that is what you identify, and you identify the pain points which follow-ups are not available and you can analyze the data and see what is happening. You in this, what you should do is you should find out the article which has done similar work before, and you prepare the Excel according to their table. Like you see what the previous articles have collected the data only. So you make this Excel, you can add new Excel column and you add the data. But if you are making a major change in the protocol, you have to inform ethics committee and you have to get the approval. So major thing I think would be like why the data is at which data if there is accuracy or not, and whether you have all data or not, in which places your data is missing. That is important, and also you can analyze like the data you have and see how this is going. But one thing is important, many people like you should not be biased. Like if you are in interim data, if you are seeing that something is happening, it might not be necessary that it will happen in the long run or it will happen in the full data. So you should not get biased, and definitely
Yes.
whatever you have done, you be honest. If you do not have data, say that I do not have data. Do not manipulate. It will cause problem later.
Yes. Thank you, sir.
So next we have with us Dr. Arvind, who's joined us from Ajmer. Dr. Arvind, would you like to ask your question?
Uh, Hello, am I audible?
You are audible, Dr. Arvind.
Sir, I want to ask that how to tackle the patients which are not coming for proper follow-up for data collection for my
So,
thesis.
so this is difficult. Actually, many people do not come. Their surgery is not done or they are done, and they have their own like farming, etc., and they will not come. So this is a difficult area. That's why you have to collect more data, more patients. And if somebody is not coming, you can call them. You definitely your followers, you should have their phone numbers with you. That is
Yes,
must.
sir.
Call them, ask them, and if you build a good rapport, they'll come just asking for you. That has also happened with me, and I think many the Dr. Sonal or Dr. Aarti will also agree that if you build a good rapport with the patient, they can call you after 5 years or so. Sometimes and how you are, and if you are there, and if you can show them to the consultant whom you are associated with. So if you can build up that rapport, you can call them and they'll come. But I agree that in like practical setting, at least 20% people will not come. So the data which is not there, you have to say that it is we could not collect this data, and you have to exclude that those people from the analysis.
I hope, Dr.
Thank you,
Arvind,
sir.
that will help you. So,
Okay, sir. Thank you.
yeah. So,
Thank you, ma'am.
moving on to the most awaited talk of the evening by our senior speaker here, Dr. Mukesh. Uh, he has joined us. Thank you so much, sir, for sparing your valuable time for us. And I'm sure his talk is not only going to benefit the residents, but is going to benefit all of us. So I invite Dr. Mukesh, sir, to please talk on managing stress in residency. Over to you, sir, for your presentation.
Thank you very much, Dr. Aarti ji. And I tried to listen, and I was very much with the contribution of Dr. Sonal's talk also and Dr. Koushik talk also. I also learned certain items from the things, because when I had submitted my dissertation in 1983, when I submitted my dissertation in 1983, Dr. Koushik, and that's also in psychiatry. So you can understand what was the stigma at that time, and to have the and no mobiles. On those days, we were not having that kind of gadgets. So it was very difficult. And probably what we say that we psychiatrists definitely would like that our patients should be very much stress-free. Our colleagues should be very much stress-free. But in those days, probably to keep them stress-free, we were remaining under stress. And that was the reason that we tried our own strategies only. We tried the things that how we can also remain without stress, and how we can manage the stress for the others. Dr. Sonal, we had a talk yesterday, and I will definitely try that. But at the same time, probably as Dr. Aarti has said, that it may not be only for the PGs, but it may help for the day-to-day practice, whatever we are doing, because we, even the practicing people, are also need to remain stress-free. As such, it's not possible at all. Even I cannot say that I am totally stress-free. So nobody can remain stress-free, but we should learn that how we can, reduce our stress, how we can remain away from the stress, and what way we can manage the stress. As that Dr. Priyanka probably. Priyanka was there, na? Yeah, she has asked about to Dr. Sonal and how to manage the time for the things to even to get prepared for the exams, to how to read the things. So that part also I will try to cover that how you should prepare for your exams. That's a very important question as such, I would say. And may I ask this planet people? We may go ahead with my presentation, the PPTs. So this is for the Young Ophthalmologist Society of India. Thank you very much, planet people and the ophthalmic societies leaders, that at least to be with the young people. We also feel that we are also still young and we may remain young till the time, because, it's such looking to all you people, and as you all are working with these people at my age, probably nobody will know, not a government job or will not take me, at least for the job. So I would prefer to remain young, and if I could get the opportunity to have the discussion with the young people, to have conversation with the young people, I will feel myself very lucky. So thank you very much for providing me the opportunity to express my views, to share certain things with you people. Thank you. Next, please. It's a review of stress. As such, someone is having some health problem, any kind of comorbidities, then the stress may worsen the thing. Stress may lead you towards still more problems. Suppose someone is with the diabetes, someone is with the hypertension, and if the same person had at one or the other time under stress because of any reason, but then probably the diabetes or the hypertension may get worsen. Because stress causes this increase in the heart rate, breathing at a faster rate. It may give you in the burst of energy, but at times you may not concentrate. But what is stress? It's your body's response to the perception of danger. If you find that you are not comfortable, as Dr. Priyanka and one another was there, she has asked, no, that suppose something happened. Suppose means you have a danger of something, you are afraid of something, you are afraid of some event. And that's the reason that it leads you towards the stress. So you try to avoid such kind of things. You should try to remain positive at all the point of time. Next, please. As I say, that nobody can say that he is without stress. It's a fact of life for almost all people. And at the same time, we may not be able to get rid of the stress, but we have to find out the ways how you can lower it. For that, next, please. So stress management can be with the quickest solution tips, if I can say, then the major part is time management and certain simple techniques for the stress management. Time management is very, very important. For the stress management, you have the sleep hygiene should be proper, your time management should be very much proper, and your body physique, that also should be very much proper. You should involve your all the senses, all the muscles, all the joints together to remain all the time stress-free and all the time happy or the pleasure mood. So if you will reduce your stress, if you will manage yourselves, then probably you will remain away from the stress. Next, please. And for this, I always say, probably climate people will say that we have already, they might have claimed the things. Let's improve your, involve your all the special senses. Out of 5 special senses, you all are with one special sense, and that's very much important for all the people. But one has to involve all the senses. Of course, you may need a combination of techniques. One or the other person may be comfortable with one special sense or the two special sense. So everyone is unique, but one has to find out their own way and should go on, keep trying, go on trying and trying. Which combination of special senses will help me to remain away from the stress? And to be on the lighter side, I would just say for the practice this. UGs, as Dr. Sonal Madam has said, that a lot of conferences are going on, a lot of CMEs are going on. It's around a year. The timetable is already very much scheduled that this way the conference is there, the seminar is there, workshop is there, CMEs are there. And at the end of that kind of CMEs or workshops, evening hours, number of times we are attending CMEs conferences to learn something academic also, and at the same time to meet our colleagues also, to meet our alumni also, because conferences are in such place that where you can involve yourself, where you can meet your colleagues also. So after coming out from all these academic sessions in the late evening hours, probably you might be enjoying with the banquet, you might be enjoying with the dinner, and there you may sit with the colleagues and go ahead with the chit chat, enjoying the part throughout the day, what has happened and how is going on in the life, and that kind of what lot of chit chats is being going on. So, madam, how you start with the things, Dr. Sonal ji? How you start with your things? That's how you interact with your colleagues or your friends.
At the conferences, at the physical conferences, sir?
Yeah, of course, physical, not on this. Whenever we are in in-person conferences,
So
in the banquet hours.
I really don't get the hours to myself, I should say.
See, whenever yeah, but I will just clear. I will just clear for you that after even earlier day, because this is only after Corona, we have learned that how we should go with the webinars and how we should go this virtual mode. Before that, we used to go with this in physics only, in person only. We were attending the conferences and other things. So how you start with your talk or with conversation with your colleagues when you are in the banquet hours, when we are relaxing? I will just simply give you the example that suppose we are sitting together, 5-6 persons are there on the table. We may have certain soft drink or the mocktail or something on the table, isn't it? So before you start the things, and before because all these things are this arranged with good food quality, everything is there, everything you can enjoy, and persons are there to serve us. So whenever we are there, we just have the any kind of glass, either with the soft drink or the hard drink, whatever it may be. So there, what we do with the people we are sitting, either I think we may say that the cheers. You start with Dr. Koushik. You may say like this, no? It's with the cheers. Why we go for the cheers? What it gives you? What kind of pleasure it gives you? Or what kind of things it gives you? What kind of things it provides you? As I say, to have the pleasure, to have the relaxation from the whole day academics ones, involve your all the senses, and that start with the touch. You will take it to the nose nearby, so smell will be there. You are going to keep it on the tongue. The third one is involved. And your fourth one, your vision. Definitely you will shoot it what is there in the glass. So all the four special senses has already been involved. Left out is only ears. And ears may feel bad about it, that you have involved all four, why I am kept upright. And that's the reason probably that we are doing the cheers for the ears. And that way, we start with the joyous mood, we start with the lighter mood, and we go ahead with our conversations with the friends. So this is just, I'm giving you the example that this way, if you'll involve yourself, if you will enjoy yourself, if you will involve all the five special senses, then probably you will remain very much stress-free, you will remain very much relaxed. and would like to share your ideas, would like to share your things with the colleagues. Next, please. Exercise, as I say, that we should involve our whole body for lowering our stress. The strongest benefits with the routine exercises. It's not necessary. Of course, if you can spare time, you can go to the gym, you can go to the walk and everything. It's a natural painkiller. It lowers your stress. It improves your quality of sleep also. And when we engage our large muscles group with repetitive exams, can be much more stress relieving. I think I have seen my ophthalmic colleagues also. I would advise, or I would recommend to youngsters that during the surgery, and when one surgery is over, the other surgery is there, you are already scrubbed, and your assistants are there. So you will just remain, you just would like to go little bit away from your OT table, men's operation table. So there also you can have a little bit of exercise. Certain people are doing mild jumping, just like jogging, so that nobody can touch you also, and at the same time, you will also not touch anything. But one or the other movement is going on. This kind of movement, even without notice also at times. Now onwards, if you will notice that your bosses, when they are in the OTs, they might be doing one or the other exercise. And that's probably may not have noticed, but that kind of exercise will give you the boost, will keep you the stress-free, and will provide you the energy to concentrate for the next surgery. So whatever way you like, either you may like to walk nearby, you would like to just have a dance, means jumping at your place only, or even you can involve with the yoga. That's yoga is not possible while you are in the OT. But while you are in OPDs, while you are there, at that time also, lot of patients we may face. But we should do our exercise also, even after seeing few patients, just come out of your chair, just do here and there. May not be, other people even may not notice. They may find that you are finding something on the table, or you are just moving here and there. But that kind of exercise will help you. If you remain in the chair for long hours, probably you will not be able to concentrate for much more time. So you should go ahead with one or the other kind of light exercises and prioritize exercise in your routine, because overall health will benefits with the associated movements. So whenever you are with the movement, you are associated with things, your body will not feel stiff, and you will be able to concentrate. You will not find very much difficulty to remain stress-free. Next, please. Reduce caffeine intake. Number of times we have found that so many persons may dump into one or the other kind of addictions. They may would like even to have, tea or coffee every hourly, because, very much loaded with the stress. They may ask the room partners, they may ask the other colleague that please prepare coffee for me every hour or every 2 hours or something. But it should not happen. Anything excess is poisonous. And of course, we know that people have different thresholds. But if you feel that you are not comfortable, if you feel that you feel a little bit tired, you feel that you are a little bit anxious, then you need to have a break. And in that break, whatever you prefer, as I say, a simple exercise, or even have the conversation with others, or you can have the light music in your room, so that you can enjoy your things, you can remain away from the stress, you can reduce your stress. So it's okay, 2 coffees, 3 coffees, a few cups of coffee in a day. It's fine, but it should not be in excess. Next, please. Write down what stresses you out. We have forgotten, we have now, people have forgotten how to write or something because of all the gadgets. But ultimately, we have to see to it that we have to write down our exam papers in person only, and that's also in writing. Here also, I don't say that you may just go on writing in your notes or with a notepad. Even you have two gadgets. If you have two mobiles, you can write in one WhatsApp, so it will go in your another WhatsApp only, or in your notepad, tablet, wherever you like. You can have one folder, and you write down the things which gives you the stress. At the same time, at the bottom of it or at the another folder, you should write down that you are grateful for what in life. Certain things definitely give the pleasure, certain things definitely give the satisfaction. That kind of things also you should write it down. And certain things which gives you the stress. Suppose you are throughout the day, you might be busy in the OPD, you might see the patients, and then you may be stressed that I have to read, and I have seen this patient very tough. The patient was. I have to discuss with my seniors. I have to discuss with my senior resident or even with the APs. If you will go to the AP directly without writing anything, then probably you will not be able to express yourself. And if you will not be able to communicate with your seniors, then probably it will give the stress till the late evening hours, till you retire to your bed. That something has happened with this patient, something wrong with this patient, or I am not able to control that, means to manage for that patient. So this kind of stress, you are loaded. Then, while relieving to the bed, you will not have the proper sleep. So that's the reason that during sleep hours, whatever has happened throughout the day may not disturb you. You will not have the recollections of the things, whatever happened, and you can have a sound sleep. For that, you write down make a habit to write down. So it will, even to someone who have helped you, that also you may note it down. That kind of gratitude may relieve your stress and anxiety by focusing positively. And you need to have a positive frame of mind to remain away from the stress. So this is equally important. You should make the practice to write down the things, whatever has happened throughout the day. Next, please. You have to spend time with family and friends. For PGs, I can say it's with the friends. How much busy you might be. And certain PGs might be with the family life also. They might be staying in the PG hostel with the family. So this is equally important for each and everyone, that the sense of belonging, you will get it from your near and dear by friend only or from your family members only. So you have to manage in such a way that you spend your time with the family, children, friends, which will help you to release your stress. It's a natural stress reliever. If you have your family with you, then while leaving home, when you are reaching to your duty, whenever you have to reach to your ward or to office or wherever, then just sit with the people before going for that. At least breakfast should be there with the family members. Breakfast together should be there with the friends. Or while leaving the home, you can have hug with the very nearby person. You can just say, greet the people. So you are totally relieved and you can concentrate very well. And at the same time, those who are at home will also remain very much calm, will remain totally away from the stress. And in the same way, when you are retiring from the job, when you are retiring from your place and coming back to home, coming back to the room, at that time also, if you find that your nearby people are there, just meet with them, just have a smile with them, just have a conversation with them. At least, as I say, either the breakfast table or the dinner table, everybody should be there and can have, and at that time, no gadgets. You can have conversations amongst yourselves only, whatever happened throughout the day, what is happening, just gossips are going on. So that way you will be remain totally relieved, and everybody can have the benefit from such kind of ventilation. Because certain things, if you cannot share with your friends, then probably you may feel suffocated. So everybody need to ventilate themselves. Everybody need that we should come out with our thoughts. We should come out. Even something good has happened, we would like to share with someone. If something stressful event has occurred, that also you would like to share with your friends. And it's not necessary that you can share only with the family members. You can share only with the, suppose the male can share only with the male, or the female can share only with the female. No gender bias. Wherever you are comfortable, wherever you find that you can share very comfortably, and the person will listen you very fine, with the patience, and can provide you the sense. At least the person is a good listener. That will also provide you the relief of the stress. Because you may find very good speakers, but at the same time, if you find that listeners are not there. So we should be a very, to be a good speaker is fine, but to be a good listener is very difficult. At times, people are not, listening other people. So you should have a very good friend of yours. You should have a very good family touch with your family, that at least you can be relieved from your stress. Whatever you would like, you can ventilate with them. And it is said that those who are with the very fewest social connections, those who are remaining away from the society, those who are not mixing with the society, those who are remaining aloof, they are probably suffering more from depression or anxiety, because they don't get time, they don't get a relief to express their grievances. And that's the reason that probably they may land into anxiety, or which may lead up to the depression. Next, please. And for this, the laughter therapy. Laughter therapy is very well known now all over the globe. It's it's relieving your stress response. It's relieving your tension. It's relaxing the muscles. It is said that those who are with the very good laughter training, very good laughter technique, hardly they may feel anxious. Hardly you may find those people anxious. And long-term laughter will improve your mood and surroundings also. It is said that even the cancer sufferers, because we are running cancer hospital also. Of course, I am a psychiatrist, but I'm attached with so many social organizations and NGOs, and there I'm a secretary in cancer hospital there, where we see the even pediatric cancer patients and the parents of those kids are very much anxious, very much stressed. But we involve them periodically. We can have certain kind of relaxation techniques with them, relaxation sessions with them, and with such kind of laughter, even these patients will feel less pain, and the relatives will be also much more relieved from the stress whatever they are going through. So this laughter intervention will definitely help you to remain or to keep lesser stress. Next, please. For the practitioners people, it's not for the PGs, but PGs can also, with their colleague, can share like this. You have to learn to say no. Number of times we may feel that how can I say no to anyone? How can I say no to even someone who is very nearby? But you have to say no if you are overloaded. Even though you are multitasking person, then also you are not able to cope up with the things. Then you should learn to say no. Otherwise, it will unnecessarily increase your stress. It will unnecessarily increase your task. And there, you will not be able to concentrate even in one job. So you'll have to be very particular about it. Otherwise, what will happen that you will not say no to anyone, and at the same time, you will not satisfy that person also, because you will not able to compensate. You are not able to complete the task, whatever being assigned to you. So you yourself will feel ill about it. But at the same time, how to say no, that is also equally important. Because it should not happen that you have said no to someone, and then you will only remain under stress. Very wrongly it happens. I said no to him. Now how he will feel, or how he will think about me, how he will feel about it. I should feel sorry about my answer. So your no should not be in such a way that you are insulting the opposite person. It should be in a very humble way. It should be in a very meticulous way that you can express your feelings that sorry, at present I am not able to do these things. At present I'm already overloaded, or at present I have to do this because priorities are being needed. So I'll try to do it afterwards, or please, if possible, relieve me from this kind of things. So if you learn to say no with proper respect in very modest way, then you will remain totally stress free. Otherwise, if you will not say that way, even though you are multitasking, you will not satisfy yourself also, and you will not satisfy the persons to whom you have not said no. So being selective about what you can take on and saying no to things which will unnecessarily add to your load, and it may reduce your stress level. So even as I said, no, especially for more important, when you find yourself taking more tasks you can handle. You cannot handle 2, 3 patients at a time, 4 patients at a time. Otherwise, you may commit mistake for one patient in another case paper, another patient in first one case paper. So you have to be very particular about your own things, about your own items, about your own actions, and there you have to learn how to say no. Next, please. As I say, you have to learn to decide your priorities. You have to make to-do list, and that's organized with priority. And you yourself love yourself and stay on the top of your priorities. Your health, your physique is very much important. Your reactive behavior can cause stress, which negatively impacts your health also and your sleep quality also. So you have to prepare the list. You have to make realistic deadlines also. And in that list, you have to make on the priority also. Suppose you have make a list that today I'm supposed to do this many work. You have noted down 8 or 10 things, and you could not complete all the 10 items in a day. Then late evening hours, you note it down that tomorrow morning, whatever the things has happened, I'm supposed to do that on the priority base. So if you'll note it down, then you will not remain under stress, because everything is you have mentioned in your notepad or in your folder. So very next day, whenever you will just see the things, you will recollect, yeah, I'm supposed to do this. So it will not unnecessarily give the stress. It will not, create your bad image, and it will not harm your work also. So give yourself uninterrupted time, else multitasking and switching within the task can be stressful. So this way you have to decide. Even certain patients may have emergency. So that also you have to manage. You have to manage with the colleague. You have to manage with your subordinates. You have to manage with your superiors. That which is the priority to be taken first. Next, please. Engage yourself with yoga. As is already being said, that it's a popular stress reliever and is offered in variety of styles, whatever you choose from. And all the styles join the body and mind together. So definitely it will help you a lot. It does this by increasing your body breath awareness. Number of times we say how you take your breath, how you take your deep breath. That's also equally important. So the yoga enhances your mood and can help in addition to even antidepressant drug or anxiolytics. If someone is suffering and if they are with the medications, then yoga may help them to reduce from the stress. Benefit of yoga is related to its effect on your mind and the stress response system. So yoga can definitely help you in such a way that you can engage your body muscles also, you can engage your mind also, you can manage for the things, whatever you have noted down to do on the priority basis. So yoga is definitely you should involve yourself and can remain away from the stress. Next, please. You have to practice mindfulness. Mindfulness anchors you to the moment. It helps combat the anxiety-inducing effects of negative thinking. Several matters of mindfulness, so especially mindfulness-based stress reduction, so yoga and meditation. We have found that mindfulness will increase your self-esteem, which will ultimately reduces your anxiety and depressive symptoms. So it's here the majorly important or the major part is your thinking process. You should not be with the negative thinking. Always you should go with the positive thinking. Once you have some certain negative thoughts in your mind, at least go away from that place, go away from that situation, and make yourself very much with energy. Because negative thinking is there, negative mind is there, then definitely you will not be able to concentrate in whatever work you have taken at that time. Suppose a cricketer will feel that the bowler is very dangerous. My previous batsman could not manage for him. Then probably, uh, you know, the batsman may come out with zero only because he has negative mindset before going to the crease. But if he has with that kind of good, thinking that even my previous batsman could not manage that bowler, I will be able to manage that bowler. I will do best. And with that kind of mindset, if he'll go to the crease, then probably that fellow can do a better than whatever even the previous batsman has done. So this is equally important that you should practice your mindfulness. Next, please. So cuddle. Positive physical contact releases your stress, which helps you to get relief of your anxiety. Cuddling is equally important. Why I say because previously, before the corona, we used to go with the cuddling. We used to meet the people. We used to shake hand with the people. But because of corona, we have learned that we just say that namaste. We just do the namaskar. Namaskar, namaste is okay. But when you are dealing with your friends, when you are dealing with your colleagues, you should have the shake hand present. And if you involve with the shaking the hand with your partner, with your colleague, then probably you will find the body language also of that person. You will find yourself also much more comfortable. Shaking hand is equally important because you can make out, you can have your confidence, and at the same time you can make out of others also that how the he or she is shaking hand with you. It's just as a in a token way, or just to do the handshake they are doing, or with the confidence they are doing. So many, and especially PGs, I am telling you people that so many people are much more anxious, and because of that anxiety, number of times their palm and the soles are easily moist. You may have perspiration in your palm even while driving two-wheeler. You may have to use the hanky because of this much more perspiring things. So this kind of things you can make it out. You will have the touch sensation, and touch will give you much more relief. So make practice to do cuddling with your friends, and that's cuddling is equally important that you may not doing something harm to others. So cuddling with your positive set of mind and with the confidence will give you much more relief from the stress, and you will remain away from the anxiety. Next, please. This is much more important for those who are even practicing because we have in our city also a lot of ophthalmologists are there. My friends are many, even for ENT surgeons, means minority people. Rather, I would say that's microscopic surgeries. And you are very much comfortable with certain light music. while OT is going on, no more talk is there, and if some certain whispering sound, music is going on, then probably you are able to concentrate much more in your surgery. So slow-paced instrumental music can induce the relaxation response and so the stress. Simply pick up what type of music you enjoy. Even I would say that you are coming out from the bed early in the morning hours, or you make a habit of such that you can come out of the bed early morning hours, then enjoy the natural sounds also, enjoy the environment also. You'll feel that the bird sounds. If you'll go in the veranda, if you'll go in the balcony in the early morning hours, you'll find this bird sounds. It will give you the pleasure. Even certain people who are very much calm, who are very much silent, who are very much introvert, they may not mix with others, but they would love to go for the natural sounds. And that might be the reason that even though they are the introvert, but they may come out of the bed very early and they may enjoy their mood with the nature. So in theater, operation theater, I would like to say, it's where you may not get distraction because of music. It should not be in a very loud sound. The volume should be very much low, but it gives you the pleasure, and that kind of music, if you go with your work, then probably you will also remain definitely from the stress, very much away from the stress. Next, please. Next, please. Deep breathing, as in between, I've already said during mindfulness and others, that mental stress activates your sympathetic nervous system. During UG days, we have learned that how adrenaline, where either you fight for the situation, or if you are not able to fight with the situation, you just flee away from the situation. So that way, stress is also the such kind of things. You have to manage for it. And deep breath will activate your relaxation response. Several type of deep breathings are there. You may go with the diaphragmatic, you may go with the abdominal, or you may go with the belly breathing. And that's also with the paced respiration, as it is being seen. It's in yoga. You can have this paced respiration so that even though we may have 16 respiratory rate per minute, but the yoga people can manage like underwater swimmers. They can manage with 10 or 12 or even 8 per minute respiration, because if you have slow paced respiration, it will give you the more relaxation. So your goal should be to focus on your breath by making it slower and deeper. And this will definitely help you to remain very much stress-free. When you breathe deeply through your nostrils and the oral cavity, your lungs fully expand and your belly rises. It will give you the feeling of peace. It will provide you the feeling of peace. I'm very much comfortable. I'm very much relaxed. That kind of feeling you should have with your slow-paced deep breathing exercises. Next, please. This is very important even for the PG students. Now here, when the Dr. Priyanka and other people were asking, you should have good sleep hygiene. You should have enough sleep. As Dr. Sonia Madam has said, that everybody is having 24 hours. Only thing you have to manage. And out of the 24 hours, at least you have to spare your 6 to 8 hours for sleep. During your exam times, you may have the 6 hours sleep is okay. But before that, you can have 7 to 8 hours sleep. When you are not facing your exam, when you are in day-to-day OPD line, day-to-day academic days are going on, and at least 7 to 8 hours sleep is very much required. And sleep should be in a continuous way. It should not be in installments. You cannot have sleep, as you have taken surgeries in the morning hours. So in the afternoon hours, at least I should have 2 hours sleep so that my body can relax and then I can be much more fresh. It's not going to happen. In the daytime, you can have napping, and that napping also in limits. You can have few minutes you can spare for your napping. But if you'll make a habit to sleep during day hours, then probably you may disturbing your sleep at night hours. So you have to manage that at what time you are going to come out of the bed, and accordingly you should retire to the bed. You should manage. Even though at times you may be retiring bed to the very late night, but when you're retiring from the bed is fixed, that you will come out of the bed at 6 a.m. or at 7 a.m., whatever you feel, whatever is comfortable to you, it should be fixed. Suppose you have decided that you will come out of the bed at 6 a.m., then accordingly you have to make it out that at 10 p.m. or 11 p.m. I should go to the bed by any means. And by 11 p.m. you are going to the bed. Suppose because of one or the other reason, because of emergency or because of some friends party or something is going on, suppose it's in a weekend days, you may retire to the bed at around 1 a.m. Then also you should come out of the bed at 6 a.m. That definitely it will give your practice and your body is acquainted in such a way that even though you have retired late, but you will come out of the bed at 6 a.m. Your sleep will not be there at 6 a.m. And for this, you have to make very good sleep hygiene and certain criteria you have to take note of it. No alcohol or no caffeine to be taken before retiring to the bed. You should have a good sleep environment, and you should take the bath before retiring to the bed. It's a warm shower or the bath will lower your body temperature and you can fall asleep faster. As I said, you should note down the things, whatever has happened during the daytime, so that such kind of things may not disturb you in your sleep. You will have the sound sleep. And avoid blue light exposure because it may disturb with your circadian rhythm of the sleep. So you should make good sleep hygiene, a routine wake-up time, and retire to bedtime. Limit your naps, prioritize your sleep, and make gradual adjustment as and when required. Jot down your thoughts, as I said, and worries so that you will not have much anxiety at your bedtime. Even for what work you were graceful, you were very much thankful, that also you note it down. So it will not disturb you during your sleep hours. Next, please. Next, please. See, time management, almost everything we have covered in the whole PPTs, and might be the summation of things, an equally important part of it. As it is being said that the 24 hours we have, and any PG may say that I could not get time to read, I cannot get time to prepare the exams. It's not so. If you are meticulous with your time, if you are very much punctual with your timing, if you are managing your time, then definitely you can spare time to read, you can spare time to practice. As I say already, that say no to more unnecessary tasks. Prioritize your list. This will ensure your health is the priority. That's the very first part you have to keep. Map it out so that you can coordinate your time. It's said that those who are very busy person can manage for any emergency thing in between if he has to face. But those who are not meticulous with the time, those who are not having any kind of timetable, they will not be able to manage any emergency thing also. Because they are not aware that at this time what I am supposed to do, this time, that time what I am supposed to do. They are totally unorganized. And that's the reason they cannot cope up with any extra work, any extra assignments they may have to face. So map it out so you can coordinate your time. You have to write down everything. Do tasks online as the way we are doing, so which will not kill your time, which will not drain your energy also. Stay organized. As I already said that it's difficult to reduce the stress if you live in a disorganized or the chaos way. To stop the drain of a messy house. Whenever you reach to your room, you reach to the house, reach to the home, if you will keep your bag or if you'll keep your gadgets here and there, then someone in the home may say, you keep it in an organized way. And at the same time, when you enter the place and if you find that certain things are very much messy, the whole room or the entry point, it's very much disorganized, then you may lose your temper. It may lose your temperament. You may feel bad about it. That what kind of room is this? So the same thing you should also understand the opposite person may also feel. So you have to remain organized. You have to keep the things yours in a very organized way. Even though electricity is not there, you will be able to make out that where are your gadgets, where are your items being kept. And for all these things, you have to know your limitations also. You have to review your schedule very weekly so you can adjust and prioritize accordingly. You have to plan in advance so you are not scrambled to complete the task. And as I say that you have to manage in such a way that you may not feel that you are being overloaded. If you have some elders, if you have someone, in the family or at your place, you have to teach them also. They have to learn their own responsibility. They have to learn about their own liabilities also. Next, please. So more prepared you are less stressful your movements. If you're fighting every morning with your colleagues to get out of the bed, you should, regardless of whatever age they have, but you should take them their own responsibility for their own actions. Teach them that you are responsible for these things. At least you be particular, remain in an organized way. So I will not be under stress and you will also not be under the stress. You have to communicate with them that you are overwhelmed. And they need to take their responsibility for their own behavior. You have to communicate with them. Then in the early morning hours, I'm supposed to attend my clinic. I'm supposed to reach the college. I'm supposed to reach the office or to the job place. Otherwise, you'll have to face the consequences of being late. It's okay for a day, but it cannot be repeated. So you are answerable if you are late over there. And the PG especially, if you are late in the clinics, if you are late in the OTs, if you are late to attend OPDs, then you may be punished. You are answerable to remain there in time. So you have to communicate with your colleagues with whom you are staying, that you are supposed to reach in time. And for that, you have to plan your things that before retiring to the bed, everything is ready in the morning hours. And everybody is, should be ready to know about their own responsibilities. If you find that in the early morning hours, you have to rush for something emergency or to rush the train or the flight, and that way you are keeping everything ready in the early evening hour, previous evening hours. So that way, if you find that you are very much, not in the morning hours, you are fighting for making your time, then in the previous evening, get your all clothes and peripherals ready so that in the morning hours, you may not have to rush for the time. If you are not comfortable, if you are not able to manage, then recruit the help. You should recruit help from your colleague or even the spouse or someone who is nearby. That is, please help me for this. I'll be able to, I have to rush in the morning hours. And this way, if you'll manage, then definitely I'm sure that you will remain away from the stress. You have to manage for your timings, and everybody can spare time. Everybody, if you are very meticulous about your time, if your timetable is very well prepared, it should not happen that daily you have to change your timetable, but you should manage in such a way that as per the situation, as per the events, whatever you are facing, you have to manage with your timetable. And that way, if you'll do, then definitely you will be able to satisfy yourself. You will be able to satisfy your superiors. You will be satisfy your own work also. Your job is very much in a satisfactory way will go, and you will remain, because of all these things, you will remain stress free, and you will be able to concentrate in your studies. You will concentrate in your OTs. And if this way you will go, then definitely you will not have any problem. For PGs, nowadays, so many things, so many, at number of times, PGs get frustrated. PGs may get this, it's not my cup of tea, or I am not able to compensate with the subject which I have chosen. But if you will remain with your colleagues, whatever the things giving you the stress, whatever the grievances you have, if you will share with your colleague, then definitely you will not have any negative kind of thoughts. This is always said that stagnant water will give you this foul smell. If the water is flowing on, then even though it's in the street, then also it will not give you the foul smell. The same way, if you are loaded with your thoughts, if you are loaded with your grievances and everything you have kept in your mind only, then probably you will not be able to concentrate, you will not remain stress-free. But if you will relieve your stress, if you will relieve your suffocation, if you will relieve your grievances to whosoever you feel comfortable, to whosoever you may feel that they are very nearby persons, then definitely you will at least remain stress-free. And this way you should go for your future, you should go for your studies, you should go for your preparation. Then definitely I'm sure that you will be able to concentrate and you will be able to spare even time to enjoy some happiest moment with your colleagues if you will plan such a way. Because everything is good. But if anything in excess, if you find that you will go on for studies for hours together, you will sit at one place for 3 hours, 4 hours, 6 hours together to read, I'm sure that you will not be able to concentrate till the last minute. Your concentration may be for 2 or 3 hours maximum. Then you need to have a change. You need to change your posture. You need to have the movement of your body. You need to have certain conversations. You need to go for either lighter, snacks or something. Then definitely rest of the, then another 3 hours, again, you will be able to concentrate. So that way, if you will go, definitely you will not have any problem. If you have problem for your reading style, if you have problem for recollection of, because we have come across so many students, especially the PGs, that even though we are reading the things, but when the time comes, when we have to write down in the exam papers or when we have to face the vivas, we are totally becoming blank. It's the total whole block we are experiencing, and we could not recollect the things, whatever we have read. So that should not happen. And it is happening because you feel that you have read for hours together, but that reading is not up to the mark. That reading is just to complete the reading. It's not that everything you have absorbed in your mind. And for absorption, you need to have a break in between so that every hour will be very much fresh for you. And you can be able to concentrate whatever you have studied, whatever you have communicated, whatever you have experienced. So this kind of things will help you a lot. Next, please. Thank you very much, everyone. Probably, I think that something, if from your side, I would like to love to have comments from you. I would love to have some recommendations also from you people. And if any questions are there, I will try my level best to satisfy up to your satisfaction. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for that detailed talk and highlighting the points in which we actually tend to ignore in our day-to-day life. I'm sure all of us will benefit from your talk a lot. So in interest of time, we will have quickly the question answer session. And I request Dr. Rutusha to please go on with the first question.
Sonal ma'am, I had a question for you. I wanted to know how to maintain and continue a growth mindset in residency.
So I hope that you are aware of what Dr. Carol Dweck says. This particular book, Growth Mindset, is actually a very wonderful book, I should say. But ultimately, it distills down to this keeping your mind open and improving upon yourself. So you have to maintain that growth mindset by, learning and then relearning, and then, building on the wins and minimizing your mistakes. That is the same thing, but ultimately it is like, your own basic thing is same. But if you will keep on relying on what you were in the past, like, suppose you were a topper in school, but once you're in PG, you just keep sitting on that and falling back on that. I was a topper in 10th standard, I was a topper in 12th standard. Now you are not. That was your past. You are now somebody. So you have to sharpen that axe each and every time. So if you're able to sharpen that axe each and every time, you are going to have a growth mindset. Also, it is also for our limitations. Suppose there's somebody who's from a rural background and is not very well versed in English, but all the lectures are happening in English. He's facing difficulty, especially in writing his thesis and all sorts of things. Even all those people, I must tell them that you have reached this stage. You just have to put in an extra effort. That lack of understanding of English does not define who you are. It may not apply to you, Rutusha, but there are a lot of people who are there who face this problem. So if you are having a growth mindset, you will continue to learn and move forward. But if you're having a fixed mindset, you say, I'm very weak in my surgical abilities, so then you will not learn further. So ability is one thing, and how you work hard and build upon that is another. That is how you have to maintain that growth mindset, and not just in ophthalmology, in every other thing probably. So it applies to life also in general. That's a very nice question, and I hope I could try to answer it as well as possible.
Yes, ma'am, that was very helpful. Thank you, ma'am.
Dr. Alisha, would you like to ask your question?
My question to Dr. Koushik sir, how to choose an IS? Maybe this is also how do we choose an IS?
Yeah, so it looks like Dr. Alisha has got some network issue. So I'll repeat her question. She wanted to find out how to choose an ideal reference article.
So that depends on how long do you have to read the article. If there is no time constraint, I'll advise you to look into, like, search the article on Survey of Ophthalmology. So this is a major authoritative journal which publishes like large and detailed surveys or detailed reviews on topics. So definitely search the topic with Survey of Ophthalmology with that, and then you'll get the article, and you can use the Sci-Hub link to search the DY for that, and you'll get this thing. So this is for detailed reading on a subject. And if you want to get like ready to go reading on that, you can search iWiki or Statford. So both of these have like data which you can rely on. So this depends on, if you want to get a good review, Survey of Ophthalmology is the journal which you will go into. And other references, like, then you'll have to see, like, you search your topic and find the articles, and definitely go for the articles in journals which are indexed in PubMed or Science Citation Index expanded. So the indexing will play a major role in selecting the references for your article. So if those are not indexed in PubMed or not in SCI, then better to leave those.
Okay, thank you so much, sir.
So we'll come back to Dr. Rutusha for the next question.
Ma'am, I wanted to know how to be productive after a tiring day at work. What steps can we take to make sure that even after coming back from a tiring day, we are still at least a little bit productive?
So again, productivity is a very subjective kind of a thing, but one thing that did used to work for me, particularly in the third year, was that when I used to come back and I was tired and thinking that it would be better to rest, or it would be better to watch some TV or do something else. Basically, the thing that used to work for me was I used to pick out random some question paper, from the previous years. And then I used to look at those questions, and then I used to realize that there's so much left to revise, that I think that used to be very helpful to me, at least for the theory. Now, when coming to practical, if you, if particularly late at night, it used to work out for me when I used to open, books which had more pictures, those atlases. So once you develop an interest in some picture or the other, then you start then reading up more theory in it. Then you pick up the bigger books. If you pick up the book with the dullest I should say resolution written, those black and white images, or if not black and white images, I mean the text is there. You want to read it at 10:30 in the night after a heavy dinner and a full work day, it won't work out. So you have to find a way to motivate yourself, basically. And videos, podcasts, there's so many ways in which you can take a walk and listen to those things. One more thing that used to work for me was when I used to read something, sometimes I used to record it. And we didn't have not video recorder or anything, just the audio recording I used to do. And then later, when I'm tired and I'm just capable of maybe doing some self-care activity, even just roaming around in my room and heating my food also, even if I'm trying to listen to what I had read earlier, it puts you in a little bit of an alert mode, that you're revising in a way what you learned before. So these are some things which work for me. I don't know if they are going to work for anybody else or not. Aarti, do you have some inputs on that?
I think you've covered most of it, but what I'll say is that it's a good thing to sit with your friends and discuss. Maybe like, you may have had a busy day, but your colleague may have had a light day, and then that person, whatever he has read, or he's might be in state of mind to tell you something which will go directly in your head rather than you sitting and reading that. And I feel that in case you feel like, today I'm not in a mood to read, and don't pressurize yourself, just leave it light. It's okay to have a off day, it's okay to have a cheat day.
You are absolutely right, as because you are being stressed with something, but the other person may be comfortable or maybe not that much feel stress of whatever you share with that person. So it's definitely you can share with the things, and then you may remain under the means may not feel that much stress. You can share the things with people.
Yes. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir.
So we'll move on to Dr. Priyanka. Priyanka, can you unmute yourself? Yes, so looks like Priyanka
having some network issues.
Yeah, looks like Priyanka has got some
how do we integrate the bits and pieces of knowledge that we
Yeah, so looks like her network is stressing all of us here. She has anyways logged out from. But I think Dr. Sonal, you've already answered this question, but we will still take it quickly, your views on that. I'll just read out the question. How do we integrate the bits and pieces of knowledge in various sources available to us? So would you like to summarize once again, Dr. Sonal?
Yeah, sure. Which is that very quickly, I'll say that for me, keeping all my notes on a particular topic at one place by writing them down used to help me out. Sir has very kindly suggested that you can, use iPads and write on them, laptops, and these things are there. But then I should remind everybody that today, the typing speed cannot be equated to your writing speed. So when you're writing down, you're also creating a sort of a muscle memory for that final D-Day, when you have those 3 finite hours, when you have to write all those sources into one answer. So that's my way. And I'm open to, learning new ways in future.
And my ways would be like whatever new thing I find, I write it in IoT. So that is what is there on available online. And I'll request all the other postgraduates to create an account at it in iWiki. It is an Wikipedia, so you can change. You can change it, you can edit it, you can modify it, you can delete something. But what happens is that because it is available online, you edit and it stays there. So it is like my notebook. So whatever I read new, I go in iWiki, and if I find that it is not there, I'll add it there. So it becomes my easy to go, and I search in Google. iWiki comes in the first or second option, and I go there. So most of the things which I know, I have already written on iWiki. So that is like ready to go notebook for me.
This is such a beautiful way of helping not just himself but everybody else also.
Everybody else. And
Precious.
if you are not have time, so suppose you are in one of the other CME, and some PPTs are being projected by the speaker, and if you are not able to note down the things, whatever you may feel that you are very much comfortable, and at least you can have a snap of it, so you can afterwards you can go through it and you can just have a very much detailed work on that part. So that this kind of things also will help you a lot. But at the same time, as I said, whatever things has given you the stress, that also you should note it down. And whatever the things give you the gratefulness, that's also you should note it down.
I think this gratefulness is important, and which makes our feel like mind feel better. Like you think like people who made you feel better or who help you.
Yes.
And that keeps your mind very fresh.
That's true.
So, Dr. Koushik, I belong to the old school here. So, what I suggest is you make one book as your parent book. Let's say Kanski, I'll make as my parent book. And what you can do is you can stick pages, or you can put stick pads, or you can keep writing. So, you have all the information, and if you have written it with your hands, and you will be able to read that again and recollect that, and you can use different color of pen to make it beautiful, and that will have an impression in your mind, even when even when you are not in mood to write in exam or something, you'll still be able to write it reflexly, that, oh fine, I have written this sentence on top of this corner, let me just write it. It probably is the important point.
Yeah, I would like to add to your point only that I used to suggest even the board exam going students. I used to tell them that how to prepare for your studies, how you should read it. And at that time, you just go on noting down the things when you are reading. Whatever you find that is important for you, it will help you in 3 ways. As you said that with the pen, whatever. See, we have found that the students will always say that the paper was very lengthy and I could not complete within the time. They could not find out the problem with themselves because, as they have not practiced given to these lumbricals, it's very difficult. They find very difficult to write down the things for long hours because they are not keeping practice to write down the things. So a writing habit will help the muscles of this lumbricals muscles will have the exercise. You will have the grip of it. You will continuous with your grip, so you can with the speed of your whatever the things you would like to write. And whenever you would like to recollect the things whatever you have written, so definitely that kind of things will give you the recall very easily. If you are writing down, only reading will not help you, but reading with your writing will definitely help you to recall the things also.
Very true, sir. I have even seen my juniors breaking down Kansky in different parts and putting the additional paper and binding it again, so that you have white sheets where you can write additional points. So you can take all the inputs from the seniors and work on a thing which will work best for you. So let's move on to our next resident. We have with us Dr. Silka Gupta. Would you like to ask some question, Dr. Silka?
Yeah, thank you for the amazing session to all the faculty. I would like to ask to Dr. Sonal how to make a good case presentation and a journal club presentation, and what all extra things we can do to get an extra edge during our residency.
Okay, so that's a pretty long question. So I'll begin with first your journal club very quickly. Journal club happens in most good institutes, and the most important thing to remember in a journal club is once you have to stick to your presentation, the thing that is the stuff that is given in that particular paper. the original paper that you're presenting, it should be first focusing on that, and thereafter you have to do the discussion over it. Should be involving a discussion of the methods, the assignment, the assessment, the results, the interpretation, and the extrapolation. So that is the classical description of the MARI method. The MAARIE acronym is for these particular areas in which you should be assessing and discussing the journal, so that you understand that what you are reading, not everything that is written is to be implemented. Some things are to be taken with a pinch of salt, because the statistics have been presented in such a manner sometimes. So when you read the methodology with the with, I should say, with the microscope, then sometimes you make out that okay, this has been omitted, they have not taken this and they have not taken that, and broadly you are able to make a deeper understanding. That is what is the real purpose of journal club. If you're able to fulfill that, then your journal club is beneficial to you as well as to others. Now coming to case present, so a very good examples of journal clubs are going on. You can see ophthalmology journal clubs being done by Young Ophthalmology Society of India and by other societies, also available freely on YouTube. And if you're a YOSI member, you're free to present with us on the YOSI journal club team also. Coming to case presentation, if I begin with the example, excellent case presentations of anterior segment have been done by the Surfing the Anterior Segment team. Dr. Aarti has done a wonderful job over there, and we have the late night retina segment also, where retina case presentations have been done. You can have a look at them, but to summarize over here, any case should be presented in a manner in which you are able to educate the others that why this case was chosen and how that particular case is benefiting your deeper understanding of ophthalmology also for further studies. What I'm trying to say over here is, if you are just presenting for the heck of learning for your exam, that is different. But if you're presenting something which is an uncommon presentation of something, that is going to benefit, because you know all the common things over there. So again, case presentations, to have an extra edge, you should have done an in-depth study about the particular case that you're presenting. But we don't have a great deal of time here to go on further. Aarti, if you would like to add something very quickly to this.
I will just say that we have so many recorded sessions on YouTube, which can be really beneficial. You can go back and read, see them, and note down the points. So that can be really helpful, I think, Sonal. And maybe if needed, we can have a separate session if we feel for the residents.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you, ma'am.
Let's come back to Dr. Priyanka. Would you like to ask your next question?
Yes, ma'am.
Looks like the network stress has not come down.
Wanted to ask, like, in a busy day, OPD, how do we go about documenting
I think can somebody please mute Dr. Priyanka? I'll ask the question on her behalf. From Clarnet, can somebody mute Dr.
Okay.
Priyanka?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you hear me now?
Priyanka, there's a lot of lag in your voice, and we really are not able
Can you
to.
hear me now, ma'am?
Yes, you stop your video, and I think you will be audible. Stop your video.
Ma'am, can you hear me now? I think if I'll.
Yeah, I think Priyanka, I'll ask the question on your behalf. There is some network issue at your end. So her question is to Dr. Koushik. How do we document our cases in a busy OPD?
Okay, it depends. If you have EMR, then it is done. You have already done this thing. And one important thing, as I have already told, you can take a photo of your OPD file. That gets the job done. And what I do is, I have this Notion application in my mobile. It provides free storage, unlimited storage for whatever data you can use. If it is not a team, if you are not sharing your data with any other person, So I have created a file and I just write the emergency number and the patient's name or diagnosis of the patient, and I upload the photo, the file of OPD card's photo on that. So that becomes, and I can search the finding or the diagnosis and I will get the file again or the emergency. So you can keep a photo of the patient's file. That is what I keep, and also the file should have the contact number of the patient so that if you want to call the patient back, it should be there. And it doesn't take much time because it's just a photo.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
We don't know, Priyanka, whether you were able to hear that, but maybe you can go back and see the recording. We have one more question by Dr. Priyanka. Would you like to try now, Priyanka?
Yes, ma'am. I've connected from my phone now. Okay.
Yeah.
So, ma'am, I wanted to ask, like, there are various exams like FICO, FRCS. So, how should we prepare and how should we go about prepare these exams in our residency? Like, should we give each step with that in within the residency, or should we prepare after our second year or third year? Like, how should we go about it?
So, Priyanka, this question cannot be covered in just like 1 or 2 minutes, but I'll still brief you, and maybe Dr. Koushik and Dr. Sonal can add things to it. So here we are talking about exams which are not related to your residency. Let's say they are not your career defining exams, like MS and DNB. So I'll say that that becomes your very important exam, and you really don't want to compromise on any of those while preparing for other exams. Now, when it comes to ICO exams, some people may not like me openly telling this, but I really don't feel that ICO exams fetch you anything. Preparing for ICO exam, which is an MCQ based exam, and you spend a lot of money to write these exams, is really not useful. So somebody who comes to me to ask how to prepare for this exam, I will actually land up telling that person that why do you want to give this exam? Is it going to give you license to practice anywhere? Why do you think that it is useful? So I'll say that you save this money, you do a good workshop, go do a good wet lab, buy a good instrument, and utilize this money in your residency for some better thing. Now we are talking about, there are different types of exams. So we have ICO exams, we have FRCS, FRC oft. These are mainly three exams which we all are aspiring to have these degrees after our name. So I was given this advice by my fellowship guide when I was planning to take my FRCS Step 2 exam. And he just told me that, you have 1 year to prepare for your fellowship. So you really don't want to sit with your books and prepare for these exams. So he said, I can write this exam anytime in my career. And 3 years after my fellowship, I wrote the FRCS exam, and I did all the other exams after my fellowship. So, you need to prioritize that. What are your future plans? Just don't do it for sake of doing that everybody else around me is doing. I never did ICO exams in residency when others were doing. I did a FRCS Step 1 exam because, I was not keen in doing ICO, but I wanted to do FRCS in long term. So I did my FRCS Step 1 exam in my second year of residency, and I just gave up on everything after that because I wanted to finish my DNB exam, finish my fellowship, and then see whether I really want to do these exams, whether I want to go outside India and practice. So please be specific by why are you doing these exams. Rutusha here will agree to me because last year we had a long discussion on this, and I actually demotivated her from taking ICO exams. So, Dr. Koushik, maybe you can add something, and I'm sure this is a very important topic, the how to prepare for exams other than your MS and DNB exams. And surely we'll have a complete session on these exams wherein we'll give you small tips for what to do and what not to do. Dr. Koushik, would you like to add something to what?
Basically, I do not agree with Dr. Aarti here. So I have done ICO, basically ICO first part, OSW first part of FRCS. So I have given ICO, I have completed ICO clinical and advanced. I have also passed ICO, UVITs and ICO retina fellow subspecialty exams. So definitely what is important is what you want. This is the important fact that it will not allow you to practice it license you in anywhere in the world. That is for sure, but definitely it adds to your knowledge. And if you have some international degree like subspecialty degree, retina, UVR, then it might add to your CV also. But if you are planning to practice outside, you can just follow the FRCS path or FRC of path. And here I want to tell you that we have a university called Mukesh Virtual University of Postgraduate Ophthalmology, which consists of international retina ophthalmologists all over the world, and which was started by Professor Mukesh Palaniswamy from Malaysia. So I am a consultant there, and we are helping people uh, and guiding people to pass international exams, including IPO and FRCS. If you are interested, you can check the website mboomco.com and you can contact the Professor Muthuswamy there. And we do have person-to-person interaction by email, and we do have our Zoom meetings on how to practice or how to mock exams on the international exams. So that is there. But regarding IQ, definitely uh, think of what you want. This is what is important. Like, what do you want to do with the degree? If you want to write it behind your name, whatever happens, then definitely do it. If you want to make it like, if you want to go outside, then it might not help you. But my thinking is, whatever you spend for your learning, that is never a waste. It is like, I know it is costly, but if you are spending your money on something, learning something, or some examination, it is never a waste. I'll definitely go for it. Go for it. And I passed the exams in like residency only, the ICU part one, and I think clinical also you can apply in the. I think I passed it on in the residency.
Thank you so much, Dr. Koushik. Do we have any more questions? Dr. Sonal, you're there? Yeah. So I think we've reached towards the end of the session, and I'm really sorry to shooting up the time. But this session was really good, and the talks were very, very informative. So I was not keen on interrupting any of these speakers. And here I would like to thank Team ClearNet for being with us and providing us the technical support. I would like to thank Dr. Mukesh for sparing his valuable time and being with us and giving inputs on this subject so really well. I would like to thank Dr. Sonal and Dr. Kaushik for the wonderful talk. And I would like to thank all the residents. And I'm so very glad that you volunteered to be part of this session and you were very good in interacting with the faculty. Dr. Sonal, would you like to give any concluding remark before we close?
No, I think it's too late to be giving any concluding remarks now, but then I'm definitely thankful to all the residents. It's because of you that we are doing all this, and we hope to continue with your further feedback. On any topics, do get in touch with me or Dr. Aarti so that we can formulate better webinars for your needs. Thank you so much and good night, everyone.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you very much for
Thanks a
providing
lot.
me the opportunity for the same. And Madam, I would just like to just tell you, because it's already the session is over, that I'm working with the NGOs, and there we are working for the cancer patients, we are working for the thalassemia patients, and for the tuberculosis patients. My institutes are first in private sector for notifications for tuberculosis in all over India. In cancer patients, we are providing free of cost chemotherapy, radiotherapy on cobalt machines, and linear accelerator. Of course, we do charge, but that's very, very, very concessional rate. And we have the facility to provide free of cost, even AC sharing room. The patient can share with their relative. So only patient and the relative is there in the room, and we are providing food, entertainment program also, and at the same time recreational rather, and to and fro from the place where they are being kept at, they are being giving shelter to our hospital. So that conveyance and everything we provide free of cost to the patients and the relatives, because we know that the chemotherapy and radiotherapy for outstation patients is not, they will not be able to spare time, or they may not be able to spend financially. So such kind of things we are doing. I'm doing work for the thalassemia, where we could convince more than 600 couples to go for the abortion for thalassemia, major child in their womb after 3 months of 3 months of pregnancy. I myself have donated, as you might have seen in the CV, that I myself have donated blood for 159 times, and that way it's going on. I'm being restricted to provide to donate the blood, as already I have crossed 65, and that was the only reason that I could not donate the blood. So this is, and I'm sure that at least probably the things we have spent for hours, this 2-3 hours, might be very much helpful to the PG students, and they may take home message, and they may go for their betterment in the PG career, in the future career. Thank you very much for providing the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Hats off to your efforts also. Thank you, Kiran. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Koushik. Thank you.
So with that, we come to the conclusion, everyone. Thank you so much for entrusting us the opportunity to host the session today. So with all your permission, we would like to conclude this session and really looking forward to hosting you again. Thank you so much and bye to all of you.